Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm Chris. That's a dad joke.
It wasn't a good one. But anyways, I'm Hannah.
There you go, see? Now that's not a joke.
Well, it wasn't a joke, but it was still funnier than yours.
No, mine was really funny. So there were a lot of comments from last week. They said I was right.
They didn't. I read them, and they said they prefer me. They're here for my humor. So, no, they did. No. I just read them. Yeah, we're not going to fight them.
The humor, they probably like your humor, like the dry sense of humor, like there's a drought. Yeah, that didn't even work very well. Yeah, let's not do that. All right, so let's just keep going.
Anyways, we've been talking about the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, 10 Commandments.
There's 10 of them. There's a lot of them.
Yep.
And I just went through and figured out what we're doing for the next 5. And
so
my
what
hand
are the
hurts.
first 5?
So, the first 5, and you'll notice in the past videos I've had to scroll. I wrote all of them in my notes so that I remember. Anyways, so the first one was don't have any other gods before me. Okay. So, fear and love that guy. Remember those words. They come up a lot.
Quite a bit.
Number 2, don't use his name in vain. Number 3, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Number 4, honor thy mother. Number 5, don't murder.
Let's go back.
No, that's good. We're leaving it where it is. We're leaving it as it is. So, moving on, what comes after 5?
The 6th commandment.
Number 7. We're doing the 7th commandment today.
No, we got to do
not
the
6th
one. The 6th one is very interesting. What is the 6th one? Do you know?
Well, I know.
Without your notes.
Do you know without my notes?
I do know without your notes.
Okay, tell them what the 6th commandment is.
I'm not saying it. You can say it.
I don't want to
it's
say
your
it
show.
But you're an adult.
I know, but you should know these already.
I do know it, but I'm not going to say it.
You should know them. Well, I'm not.
As a recent confirmation class graduate, I can tell you that the 6th commandment is you shall not commit adultery.
Huh. Told you.
You didn't tell me. Okay, anyways.
Put it in the comments. I told you. So, the 6th commandment is
don't
commit adultery.
Yes. Oh, now you can say it.
Well, this is your show. I don't want to upstage you. The spotlight always shines on me, and I'm trying to push it over to you. But they all want it to shine on me, so they keep moving, and I keep.
This used to be your show, so I just like to remind you of that, and now we can go back to this. So what does it mean? What is this? What does all of that mean? Because according to the Small Catechism, love that little dude. It says that oh goodness, people are texting me. You should live faithfully by respecting God's purpose for activity within the context of marriage.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when we talk about sexual activity,
yeah,
it is within the confines of marriage. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong about talking about it, about experiencing it. But what is wrong is experiencing it outside of God's plan, outside of His reason and for it, and that is outside of marriage. Yeah, absolutely.
So what is marriage then?
Well, marriage. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I have it in my notes.
I'm sorry. You need to tell me when you want me to talk.
Never. Just assume you sit there and I'll do all the talking.
Perfect.
So marriage is a lifelong union of a man and a woman for mutual help, joy, and then nurturing of children. And it is a public promise to live faithfully together until death.
Okay. Very cool.
Very cool.
So it's all about marriage.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And living with your spouse until death.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
So that's neat. And then what is adultery in that case within the context of marriage? Mm-hmm. This is, you can.
Oh, I can talk now.
Yeah, I'm letting you. You're
okay.
welcome.
So thank you. So adultery within the confines of marriage, in the context of marriage, is having, well, it's a lot of things. Mm-hmm. One thing is having a relationship, a sexual relationship with somebody that you're not married to. Mm-hmm. But it's not just that physical act either, is it? What else can it be?
The only thing I wrote down is unfaithfulness of a spouse. I am not married. You are married. Continue.
And so there are other things like looking at and wishing you had and, someone else outside of the confines of your marriage. I mean, that's committing adultery too, looking lustfully at somebody. There's another commandment we'll get to too that talks about coveting your neighbor's wife and stuff. But I mean, it all is, in this case, adultery isn't just the sexual relationship.
Yeah, that's solid.
Wait. Why are we talking about marriage? That doesn't have to do with middle schoolers.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
They're going to get married someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
But you're right. Today.
No.
Okay. Do they think about marriage at all?
Maybe some do, but not me.
Okay.
Not
Well,
that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was in middle school, I was like planning my wedding and I wanted that dress and these flowers, but like I was never thinking about it like
Right.
deeply.
A union and
Right.
a commitment.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Thank you, Nathan. Awesome. Yeah, so let's shift then. Scratch out your notes. Why would we talk about, or how would we talk about this to that age group?
Yeah, it's definitely like a little bit tricky right off the bat to like see it in that light, but I mean it kind of goes back even to like the 5th commandment where it's the words itself are just don't murder people, but it goes a lot deeper than that. And it's the same thing with this. Like even if you're married, well, even if you're not married, you can still commit adultery. Just looking at someone like lustfully, if they're not your spouse, even if you don't have a spouse, is adultery.
And what's interesting too, and we probably don't have answers for this, is in society today, we talk about adultery and we always talk about it in the confines of a union, a marriage, right?
Yeah.
A marriage that God has created, has ordained, right? And so, but in society, we see that definition of marriage has been extended. And so it places pressure on society, on Christians, and to start to defend the definition that is biblical.
Yeah.
And so, from a middle school perspective, that's another way to look at this, is to say, okay, well, God said you should not commit adultery. Adultery is sex outside of marriage. If we just want to stick to that, what's marriage?
Right.
Right? And so how do you navigate that in school with your friends and society that's pressuring you to broaden your definition? That's tough.
It is. Yeah. Do you have more? Or
I can keep going, or you can tell me to shut up.
fair enough. Well, all I have left is that like last question
Let's
that we
hold
always
that
do.
then.
Okay.
Let's hold that, because I think that this is an important thing. How do you go into, you're out of middle school, barely, and how do you navigate those kinds of conversations? And so you have a group of friends. Your friends are talking about marriage more broadly than you. How do you respond? Or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, because the only thing I can think of is how I can segue it into talking about the context of marriage within nursing homes, since that's where you're going soon. You're not too far off.
Okay.
If I'm not too far from middle school.
True. Yeah, and
I completely lost track of what we were saying.
that's okay. Yeah, because you were thinking about what funny joke, and you failed miserably.
I did.
They said it. I'm reading the comments.
You're reading the comments right now.
Yeah.
We haven't posted this yet.
Oh yeah. Well, when we do, I'll be reading the comments and laughing.
You guys better hype me up for this. Don't let him win. I know you like me better.
So you're in a situation with friends talking about marriage for whatever reason, and the discussion focuses on the definition of marriage.
Okay.
And it's different than what you believe. Mm-hmm. How do you respond? Or do you respond?
I mean, I would say, respond. As for how, it depends, like, how are you imagining them defining marriage? Like, are you thinking that they're just like, it's like just a big ceremony and then you live together? Or
I'm thinking more, that's definitely one possibility. I'm thinking more about same-sex marriages.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
Because those are harder to navigate. Those are trickier to navigate.
Yes.
Because you're talking about relationships between you and your friends that now are dependent, for example, on these kinds of beliefs. How do you navigate that?
It's tricky. It's very tricky. I remember in the Small Catechism, it's got, obviously it mentions this type of thing where it's like, our created nature is male and female, because that's, you have a guy, you got a girl, they have babies, the world keeps spinning.
Okay.
So if you have like a guy and a guy, they can't really have children naturally. So there's that. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, it's because, and I guess where I would kind of go is this. So you picture yourself surrounded by your friends. You're just hanging out, talking. This topic comes up, and the position of all your friends is that there's nothing wrong with gay marriage. Okay? How do you respond? Well, you either don't respond because maybe it's not that important to the conversation, right? Maybe you yell and scream and call them stupid names, but then doesn't that go back to breaking the fifth commandment? And what's the fifth commandment? Don't murder. Don't murder. And we talked about that last week, that murder is a broad term.
Yes.
And so, so if you confront that, and anything, but you have to do it out of love. Yeah. You have to do it in a way that will strengthen your relationship, not break it. Right. Not stress it. Because there's no way you're never going to talk an enemy into agreeing with you. Right. Right? Yeah. That just doesn't happen. You talk friends into, right? And so this is no different. Is if you want somebody to understand or to be, on your side, so to speak, right? To see your side, you have to do it out of love, and you have to do it through a friendship. Yeah. And so I think that to me is the biggest, maybe one of the biggest points I want to make here, is it's okay and you should stand up for your beliefs. But you can do it without murdering people. Right. And you can do it out of love. Let's leave it there. Okay. So let's keep going. All right. So as we have done for the past 5 commandments. Third commandment, fourth commandment, fifth commandment, sixth commandment, minus 1. Yep, 5 commandments. It's a joke. They love it. It's an inside thing between them and us. Anyways, how do we fear and love God with this? Maybe we should go back and revisit the do not murder, because I'm having a hard time with that one. I see it in your eyes. I bet you can. So there are like 5 ways that I 100% came up with, and nobody else didn't rip it straight from the Small Catechism. Wow. The first one is to treat your body as holy. Like, that's, there's that. Number 2,
build each other up rather than tear each other down. That goes back to what you were saying, and it goes back to the 5th commandment. Number 3, reserve intercourse for marriage. That, number 4, refrain from lustful desire and activity. And number 5 is treasure your spouse as a gift from God. I do not have a spouse, but do you treasure your spouse as a gift from God?
I do.
Good, because she watches us.
Yes, she does. That's why I said that. And because I do. I do. But number 4 is a whole topic unto itself.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Lustful thoughts and desires, and now we're going into internet and and not just internet, but the
internet's made it worse.
Absolutely, it's just made it more accessible.
Yeah,
rock music is what made it bad.
Oh, of course, especially if you play it backwards.
Oh yeah,
that's when you really
With that, we'll leave it there.
Okay.
And why don't we come back and let's talk about the 7th commandment? What do you think?
I mean, I guess.
All right, have a good week.